Okay, hello. This is Mr. Pink and Yellow. I'm here with CityCrusher
Hello?
and Colonel Kurt. She's sort of controlled opposition in a way, but she does talk about important subjects that no one really else really talks about. But she can't let go of her support for feminism,
Yeah,
basically, and
exactly.
she's in that full coping mode as well. Look, she's not a complete psychopath, right? Like a lot of feminists are. But what's going on sort of upsets her at some level. She doesn't want it to happen, but she can't admit that feminism is a hate movement. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
problem. It's just she can't square. She can't square the circle. In other words, so what we're gonna
Yeah.
do? She's done two short videos, and I actually recommend you watch her channel, or just to keep up to date on certain topics. But she's still controlled opposition, basically. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's get this fucking habit out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were destroying
So anyway, any time you want to interject, just tell me to pause, and I will.
Okay. No,
exculpatory evidence.
I've watched both of these
Yeah.
anyway, Jen. So go ahead.
They were destroying exculpatory evidence. What Yale was doing was they were going around finding stuff that proved my innocence and destroying it. And the prosecutor's office caught
Are
them.
you serious?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a pattern of behaviour by feminists. This is not just a one-off freak event, right? Okay, so for example, when a black man gets discriminated against in the legal system, it's not like systematic. Oh, it's not as systematic as when the feminists do it. It's like a freak event by a bigot, basically.
Yes.
Okay, this is systematic by feminists because this is going on in the UK. Like Alison Saunders, she was the director of prosecutions in the UK, and they were destroying phone evidence on purpose to get more convictions. Okay,
Yes.
so this is a pattern of behaviour.
And the prosecutor's office caught them because they were trying to force a narrative.
There really is something very wrong.
The forced narrative is a cope as well, right? Okay, that's another cope term. It's a euphemism, forced narrative. So,
Yeah.
in a Mockingbird, when they falsely accuse that black man, is that forcing a narrative, or is that like legally lynching him to just try and destroy him? What is it? It's not forcing a narrative. They always use
Yeah.
softening language when feminists do hate crimes, basically.
And this is the victim talking, this
Yes,
young man.
it's a
You
victim
know,
talk.
so yeah.
At our universities, the tremendous injustice that's being done to a number of young men at these institutions who are accused of sexual assault and harassment. So recently
Okay,
there was a
stop it right
huge
here. We just want to note that she admits it. It's young men. So she knows this is a sexism for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And also they lump in, and here's another thing as well, they lump in sexual assault with harassment as well,
yeah.
because sexual assault is actually a specific crime. There's clear boundaries on what sexual assault is. Harassment is very vague and nebulous. So they love this and can like zap more men. And also they use this term sexual misconduct, which basically means, oh, your behaviour is inappropriate, but it was not illegal, but we're going to zap you anyway. Right?
Yeah.
huge sort of legal earthquake. The Supreme Court in Connecticut ruled in favor of my next guest. He was suing Yale and wanted to sue a classmate, a former classmate, who had accused him of sexual assault, and the university had put him through this ridiculous kangaroo court. And before
Let's
it ruled
stop it right
against
here. They always do this. It's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's bigoted. You know,
Bigoted.
they always say, yeah.
It's not a mistake as well. This is what it's intended to do on purpose. This is its purpose. To destroy
Yeah.
men socially.
Yeah.
him. And so, my guest here, I'm really grateful that you're coming on my show to talk about this. Saif Khan. A lot of people are talking about DEI right now, and that's great. I think DEI is a real problem. It is a completely, ridiculous and destructive philosophy, and it's way too
Stop there. Wait,
prevalent.
just a minute. I'm not. I've heard her use DEI, but I'm not familiar with the.
DEY. I'm fucking definition. DEY universities. All right. University. Oh, I've missed look. Oh, I can't Google it. Fuck.
Okay,
I
never
should have
mind.
done some research. Okay.
On all
Yeah.
college campuses, almost all campuses. But what's going on at modern universities with this kind of, I think, very anti-male,
Stop it here too.
quote
Hold
unquote,
it.
feminine.
She says modern universities. This has been going on since probably the 1960s at the early.
No, what happened? Feminism invaded in the 60s, but this sort
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
But it ramped up. The attacks on men ramped up like 20 years ago. By the way, I want to go
Yes.
back because you're in the middle of saying something there. I want to pay attention to what she's doing. She does something
Yeah.
here. Very important to pay attention to this.
On at
Sure.
modern universities with this kind of, I think, very anti-male, quote unquote, feminism.
Quote unquote feminism.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not true feminism, which is complete fucking nonsense. So like, you know what? I'm a true Nazi. I don't believe in gassing the Jews and oppressing people. The 99% of other Nazis who did that, they're not the true Nazis. It's like saying that. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Kurtz, you got to just let go of the feminism. You got to make a choice. You can be a hate monger or you can be for equality. You can't be both. You can't support a hate movement. You can't give a hate movement credibility and cover like this.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm sorry, Mr. Finkenell, she has made her choice.
Yes.
She is a part of the hate movement. She doesn't want to let it go.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yes. Yeah. It's a no true Scotsman fallacy as well.
And these Title IX policies and these kangaroo courts that guys like you are being put through, I think it deserves a lot of attention as well.
It does deserve a lot of attention, but no one gives a fuck because it's happening to men. And there's something fucking wrong with men. There's something sick with men.
Take something extremely taboo and something that has deep emotional gut reactions to people.
Because people care about women. They don't. The average man doesn't want women harmed. They get upset when women are harmed and when women are distressed. Men don't want women raped. Okay, you get all these like nutjob feminists who go, oh, men want to rape women, want to harm women, which is a smear and attack on men, right? But that's the complete opposite of the truth. Like men should be indifferent to supply women now. Basically, like for example, if I'm a Jew, right, and I've just been liberated from a death camp, and on my way out, I see some SS officers being strung up by Russians, right? I'm gonna be indifferent. I'm not gonna care about their fate. Men should feel the same way about women now. I'm sorry. I know it sounds radical and extreme, but even Colonel Kurtz can't speak up for men correctly, right?
No, of course.
People, which is sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
And then you couple that with this reign of terror where people are unable to talk about it. What happened to me...
Actually, and we can't even talk about it. People on YouTube can't talk about it, right?
Yes.
They can't make videos about it without saying the word sexual assault, or they get demonetized, right? Or they put grapist instead of rapist, which is fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, YouTube, for doing that. Alright? This is a serious topic. We should be able to talk about it freely. Jesus Christ.
Happens ubiquitously. Happens across the board. There are so many people suffering in silence. And then...
so many men suffering in silence.
Yeah.
Along with that,
it's always
you add the social tabooness of it, where you get a scarlet letter with it, and you're not able to fight, and everybody always distrusts you.
Mm-hmm. And these women false accusers, right, just get away with it with impunity, right? That Keisha pop star. I'm going to do another video about this. Okay, I'm going to do another video. That Keisha pop star. She admitted to sexual assault and sexual harassment of men. She admitted it in the interview in Rolling Stone. She just admitted it. She admitted to it. Complete impunity.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Yeah.
And no one cares when women actually sexually assault other women as well. So it's not even protecting this
women.
That's true. It's they want to get men. They want to smear and get men. So why should I give a fuck about women when society actually doesn't really give a fuck about women, right? If your motive is to zap men, your concern for women is completely invalid as far as I'm concerned.
I have been proven through proper significant evidence that I'm innocent, but there's an air of doubt with me throughout my whole life.
Yeah, you were acquitted. I'm sorry, I just want to make clear to our audience, acquitted by a jury in a legal court of law. And the evidence on your side is astounding. I mean, it's.
By the way, there's more false accusations coming. So Vin Diesel's getting falsely accused, right?
Yes.
And the rest of the Chris Jericho's now getting falsely accused as well. So it's happening to him too. It's happening all the fucking time now. It's happening. I bet you it's happening so much. I bet you it's happening to so many men and it's not getting reported. It's happening all the time.
Yes.
There's always a new high status man getting zapped. I was wondering how many low status men are getting zapped by this.
Blatantly obvious based on text messages and even video evidence.
And by the way, feminists have said that text messages are not proof. We've got to discount text messages because when you rape a woman, she's got Stockholm syndrome and she's going to text you loving messages afterwards. After
yes.
If you're really raped, you're going to freeze in horror and not want anything to do. You're going to want to put it out of the mind. You want to avoid the person who raped you. You're not going to have this weird fucking Stockholm syndrome. That's not how Stockholm syndrome works. Stockholm syndrome is a long-term kidnapping thing. It's nothing to do with fucking rape. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Surveillance cameras on campus that this woman, your accuser, was lying.
I'm incredibly lucky that I was able to have a ton of evidence available to
No,
prove
stop it
my
right here.
innocence. Yale was
This is
actually
something
found.
that right here. This is why men really need to make an effective memorandum now,
Yes.
because you shouldn't have to be lucky
Yeah.
to get a fair trial.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Well, no, and you shouldn't even get a trial. I'm sorry. If there's no evidence, no trial, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it goes beyond this because she's just mentioned how he was actually acquitted and proved,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they hate men. That's it. They don't
Yeah.
care. By the way, he's quite a good-looking guy as well. So this is more looks as some nonsense debunked. He looks quite tall and
Yeah.
healthy. So
By the prosecutor's office in violation of Brady v. Maryland, which was that they were destroying exculpatory evidence.
So I want to say something else as well. Okay, women want high-status men in relationships, but they want to destroy high-status men as well. So this
Yes.
is more proof. There's no Chad. There's no high-status men that women love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yale was doing was they were going around finding stuff that proved my innocence and destroying it, and the prosecutor's office caught them.
Are you serious?
I'm going to say this now. I don't care if I'm going to get in legal trouble saying this. I'm going to say this now. If they were doing that to me, I would find the prosecutors and I'll just hit them over the head with a brick. I'm saying that now. I'm just going to upload this. I don't care. If I found them doing that to me, I'd find out who's responsible and I would attack them. And I'd
Yeah.
hand myself to the police station afterwards.
Yeah. The thing is, the reason you do it, or say you'd like to do it, is simply because there's no other alternative.
There's no justice.
There's no justice.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and the prosecutor's office caught them because they were trying to force a narrative.
A lot of people don't know that when guys like you, when you're accused of sexual assault or harassment on these campuses,
I've got to say, her editing this stuff has really improved the videos. None of this rambling that she tends to do. He's like getting
Yeah.
straight to the point, which is good.
And the sad part is someone, I watched this video, someone in the comment was actually complaining about the editing.
Yes.
I said, "You idiot. She made it a nice, crisp video. Shut up." Anyway, go ahead.
that there is this small administrative board, or in some cases, it's a single administrator, a college administrator that is
Yeah.
who is adjudicating these cases. It's not like some like seasoned judge or like fair-minded jury of your peers or something like teen court or whatever.
There should be this shouldn't be done on university campuses. Full stop. I don't care if they've got judges or experts or whatever. This is for the legal system only. This is for the police
Yes.
force only, right?
Right? Like it's bureaucrats, and it's bureaucrats who are very invested in one
Right.
political narrative.
She's using the term bureaucrats as a euphemism. It's feminist. You don't need to say bureaucrats. It's feminist.
Yeah. Like I
Right.
said, by the way, Miss Pink and Yellow, like I said, I've actually commented directly to her in her comment section. She's talked back with me, so she's heard it. She knows.
Yes.
And these people know, and they just refuse because they are part of the hate movement. What it is, she wants the hate to be at a certain level, tolerable level,
Yes.
and it's getting off the wheels, off the charts. You're right.
Yes.
Right, we're highlighting something that has been expanding for decades now, the
Yes.
bureaucratic bloatware.
Now they're talking about bureaucratic bloatware. It's not bureaucratic
Yeah.
bloatware. It's feminist hijackers, man haters. They're framing the issue incorrectly.
Yeah.
That has installed itself upon the economic structures within America.
There's a particular ideology right now that is really popular on college
Yes.
campuses and among young people,
Yes.
and it casts women largely in this victim role, and
Oh
as
my-
whatever, and as sexual interest from men as being predatory. And I think the thing is
So basically, sexual interest for men is predatory, but women are allowed to do whatever they want sexually. So,
Yeah.
okay.
that I've seen as well is that yes, there are rapes that occur, but if
Like 1 in a million. I think I'm convinced now that actual legitimate rapes are like 1 in a million now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it always pisses me off when they say, "Oh, they actually happened." They're always making these excuses.
I'm sorry. We live in an era of CCTV cameras, smartphones, recording everywhere. I don't see it happening. Like you get the odd lunatic who does it. That's it. I'm sorry.
if you dig into particularly the stuff on these college campuses, if you dig into a lot of these accusations, what you actually see is.
And feminists actually go around saying that 1 in 4. They always use this 1 in 4 or 1 in 3. Like 1 in 4 college women be raped by the time in college. Like what? So women outnumber men in universities like 60% to 40 or 65 to 35, something like that. But somehow 1 in 4 of them are getting raped. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is things got murky, that two people got intoxicated and had sex, and there even is in a lot of cases textual evidence that there was that no one was forced, and that there.
So what feminists do? This is more vagueness on purpose. So the whole drunken sex thing, they can't come out and say that it's illegal to have sex while you're drunk, right? Because women don't really cut off from sex on their own terms, right? But also, men will go, all right, there's a clear boundary here. I can avoid getting zapped. So they say,
Yes.
they say, oh yeah, she's intoxicated, she can't consent, which is fucking nonsense. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
There was some kind of temporary consent, and I think that.
Don't use the term temporary consent. There's no such thing as temporary consent. You consent to it. You can't withdraw the consent.
What happens is there's a lot of ambivalence, or maybe these women in certain cases, like with what sounds like in your case, they were afraid that their friends would know and see them.
No, she's trying to empathise with the women accusers.
Yes.
Okay, which you shouldn't do. They're just scum, load of dog shit. Actually,
well, that says a lot about Kurtz.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. It was like, these women are just bad people. They're just psychopaths.
As a slut or whatever, because those double standards still exist, right?
No. Fuck you.
Yes.
You're whining about women being called sluts. Okay? So actually, this is not a digression, this is related. I was on Twitter, and there's a woman whining about women being called sluts, and it's proof that men hate women. Like some man called a woman a slut on Twitter. I just bombarded her with women wishing death on men, and paedophilia against boys is good because it harms boys. All these women saying that men should commit suicide and kill themselves. Right? I do not give a fuck if women get called sluts. It's not a double standard. Fuck you. And also, that Warren Ellis, right? He was what you could call a male slut, right? Because he had status as a comic book author. He was an ugly guy. He was banging loads of chicks, right? Okay.
Yes.
And he got ostracised and he got fired from his jobs because like women were gossiping about him and spreading rumours about him. Isn't that slut shaming of men? Women don't get slut shamed. I'm sorry. At the most, it's other women doing it. But who gives a fuck? Men get attacked for sleeping around. They get attacked for being incels. They get attacked for sleeping around. Fuck you. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Stop whining about it.
And so it's just easier to put it off on the guy. And I liked what you said.
So basically,
no.
It's easy to put. So basically, she doesn't want to be called named, so she's going to smear and destroy a guy.
Yeah.
What? Jesus.
It's not easier to put it on them. They're doing it on purpose.
Yes,
this is misframing.
It's fun. It's fun. You know, that's it. Why do serial killers torture the victims when they kill them? Because it's fun. Yeah. Okay.
Also about how, you know, in this case, it seemed like there was just a kind of a course of events that sort of just took over after a certain point, that she said something to her friends, but then the friends, because they were sort of indoctrinated in this ideology, they really
no, stop that.
Yeah. Women have been doing this for centuries. Like the witch trials was women gossiping about other women. This is one of the things with women. Basically, there was no welfare state. Women wanted to get rid of surplus women who were not providers, like old bat women, right, and weirdos. Okay, so they get rid of them. And that's why they spread rumours about them and got them burnt at stake as witches. It was women doing the rumour spreading. It was teenage girls falsely accusing them of being witches, right? This is old behaviour. You can't blame feminism. It's not brainwashing, right? Men, MRAs couldn't turn up at universities and convince men to hate women and spread rumours against women and falsely accuse them. You couldn't do it. So it's not brainwashing. You can't brainwash. You can
this is a case where you can't blame feminism because feminism comes from this innate female behavior.
And also, you can't hypnotise people to do stuff they're not willing to do.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Really jumped on it. We're like, oh, you've been assaulted. And then the machinery, like you said, of Yale takes over.
The feminist machinery. Okay.
Yes.
Not just the machinery.
And I've seen in so many of these Me Too hoaxes that I've covered on my channel over the years, that most of the time it's women who they're not really thinking about the long-term consequences or the long-term gain.
Stop. Yeah.
Take
go ahead.
Accountability and agency away from women. They're not thinking about the consequences.
Yeah.
They're out to destroy the men, Kurt. Stop saying this nonsense.
And they out of emotional or whatever, they say
Right.
something.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, that man just beat his wife out of emotion. He doesn't think about the long-term consequences. And actually,
Yeah.
beating your wife's actually less serious than this. Actually, it's less harmful. Okay?
Yeah.
Being falsely accused does far more damage to a man than being beaten up. So anyway, can you imagine they talked about a male criminal like this, or a male rumor spreader
Yeah.
like this? They wouldn't do
Just
it.
all this empathy, or
Yes.
not even empathy.
Yeah.
It's excuse making
It's
for.
empathy and excuse making. It's being sentimental about these women, which they don't deserve. They're scum. Like if every single false accuser got run over by a bus tomorrow, I'd be happy. I wouldn't even say
Yeah.
anything. I'd be happy. Good riddance. Like for
Yeah.
example, there was a wrestler called China, right? And she was actually
Yeah, I remember her.
She was falsely accusing people. She was a batshit insane lunatic. She was falsely accusing people of raping her left, right, and centre, and abusing her, and then she committed suicide. My stance was good riddance. She was
Yes.
actually and it's not even out of spite. It's out of thank God men are safe from her now, right?
Yeah.
If someone's dangerous to your well-being or to other men's well-being, it's good that they're gone from this world. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
Hitler.
Hey, Kurtz, if you ever hear this,
Yeah.
the women you are empathizing with, they're scum.
Yes.
And if you empathize with them, you're scum.
Yes.
We'll say that.
Yes. So when Hitler killed himself, thank goodness Hitler's gone. Right.
Yes.
And it's too late.
And that's
It's not too late. Women can withdraw the accusations.
the issue with the deer in the headlight situation with a lot of these accusers, because
The accusers of
What's
deer in
this?
the headlights. Even he's making
Yeah.
victims of them. What the fuck's wrong with you, man? You should be angry and resentful. You should be men are not allowed to call these women bitches and cunts, babe. They're not allowed to rant and be angry against them. If you feel any angry against them, it's 100% justified and valid. You are allowed to hate your oppressor and abuser.
Yeah.
they
Also,
aren't.
the deer in the headlight thing.
Take agency away.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. It's him. He's saying that he was surprised at this.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for a young man entering university and being surprised that this is happening to him.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Aware of the apparatchik that is the Kafkaesque machinery that
It's
has
feminist machinery. It's not Kafkaesque. It's feminist.
been installed
Yeah.
with that.
These Orwellian, Kafkaesque, totalitarian,
Yes.
dystopian, or utopian, or communist, or leftist, or Klingon, Vulcan, Daleks,
Yeah.
any
UFO, lizard man,
anything
you
but
name it.
using the term feminist.
Yeah.
bloatware, because those people, to justify their jobs, they have to create entire systems.
Stop. It's justify their jobs. In other words, it's trying to make it about money again.
Big
This is a hate.
They're trying to make it about big government, and we'll
Yeah.
prove this in this video. Now, okay, it's like feminist advocacy, and they're gonna put what feminist advocates do. They're not even talking about we've talked about the Whisper Network in the past. We've shown the article in the past, right? The Whisper Network is when girls network in organisations and get other feminist women jobs, right? And it's just feminist networking and taking over the institution, right? It's not bloatware. It's feminists taking over the institution. It's a feminist takeover. It's politically planned. They plan to do this. They network. They coordinate. Then they take over. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
until you admit to the problem, it will never be dealt with. Period.
Matter of fact, this guy right now
Yeah.
is being a part of controlled opposition by
Yes.
what he's doing here.
Yes.
You know.
It was just weird to grow up in Afghanistan and have this sort of weird experience and animosity in America, where it's
Stop. It's just no men really are brainwashed.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like this has been going on. When someone hates you openly, when another man hates you, these guys just say, "Hey, this guy hates my guts."
I hate him back. People get
Yeah.
hate back. Yeah. Like, men can't hate women for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, look, I've got a woman worshipping instincts, right? I've got it, like all men do. But I legitimately despise women who hate me. I do.
Yeah.
My women worshipping instinct doesn't come into play anymore. It's like fuck you. Women who hate me are basically dead to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's it's very Taliban-esque. I mean, even the word Taliban, the root is students, and so the way it grew is it actually started on campuses. And
So he's making a point here. Successful political movements take over universities, right? Because it can spread the
Yeah.
ideology to the next generation, and that's what feminists have done, and we've allowed them to do this, basically. So it might be too late. It's probably too late because men are too stupid to push back against this, right? Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, we've allowed them to go with universities. They're going to spread this poison and filth to the next generation.
and then that
And what's going to might happen? They might push enough high stakes men out of work, and it might create more low stakes men. The low stakes men might lash out, but what the low stakes men will do, or many low stakes will do, they'll lash out at other men to try and compete with women. The women will be fine. The feminist women will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how they implemented Sharia law all over Afghanistan. And so part of the reason why I'm motivated and fighting so strongly, where I was just at Congress a few weeks ago for lobbying, and so there are like quite a few moves that I have planned.
But one place I think we would agree where
Well,
society
stop
can
there.
start to
She didn't actually let him say what are your moves, which should have been really in this.
Should have been in a video. Yeah, look, men are very bad at activism as well. They're just bad.
Yes.
There's a guy who offered to debate you in one of your old videos, right?
Yeah.
I'm on TikTok. I've got 10,000 followers and I've got millions of views. I said, where's your fucking YouTube channel then? Where's your YouTube channel? Where's your blog? Right? Did he actually contact you? Right? Men don't network. They're fucking men are very bad at this. Actually, they're very good at it when it's self-promotion, gain status, but when it's for men's rights, they're not very good at it. They're suddenly clueless for some reason. It's weird. Men are fucking weird.
Clean up some of this ideology that's so poisonous and toxic is in the universities. And so if this
by the way, Alex, but if feminism is a disease, men are the vector. Men are like the body with zero immune system whatsoever.
Women are the vector. Then I don't think that's what vector means. I think.
Oh yeah, the women are vector, but the men are the body, and the body has no immune system whatsoever.
Yes.
Toxic ideology that we've got, and these are the kinds of toxic, practices. And I don't think a lot of people understand also that in these campus tribunals,
they do understand. They just don't care, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, like you were not allowed, neither was your attorney, to question this woman, and you don't have the right to face your accuser in court.
This is the brick back around the back of the head scenario, as far as I'm concerned. So it's a rigged system, right?
Yes.
You live in a totalitarian. At least the West goes on about how fucking democratic they are and how Russia is an authoritarian system, right? No, we're not democratic. If this can happen to you, you do not live in a democracy. We live in a feminist dictatorship, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
There are all kinds of ways in which the usually male who is accused has his rights taken. He's legally bound up, and so I don't think people understand.
Okay.
She's right. People don't understand, And then the men don't have the rights in the first place. Yeah. They weren't taken away. They don't have them.
Well they did have rights taken away. Sorry, I don't get what you mean by that.
No, I mean in the university.
Yeah, but they did have them taken. This didn't used to happen to men in universities. So they've had rights taken away from them, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you're not meant to be punished outside the judicial system like this with kangaroo courts. So this is a right that men have lost recently, right? And they failed to defend this. They just let it happen. Basically.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Another thing is, hey, I do have a question. Even if this guy, let's say, was guilty of some kind of sexual crime, and he didn't get jailed, should he, in your opinion, he be booted out of university, or should he say?
Well, the thing is, it depends how serious it is, right?
Yeah.
I think it should be measured by how legitimately dangerous he is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because for a fact that women will commit crimes and they won't get booted out. So it should be held to the same standard.
Yes, exactly. Perfect answer.
The way I see it, if he's jailed, if you're going to jail, you're not going to university. That's the way I see it. If he doesn't go to jail, he should be booted out. If the crime's serious, you don't need to boot him out because if the crime's serious enough, they're going to jail anyway. So you don't need to boot them out when you think about it. So it's just an excuse to destroy a guy's status and zap him and ruin him for life and make him unemployable and drive him to suicide. It's a form of slow rape when you think about it.
Yeah.
So. So this is where she talks on her own for a bit.
All right, so Claudine Gay and Harvard are getting absolutely pummeled online today and yesterday in the media and on Twitter X. There are just a lot of people
No, it's Twitter.
Yeah, that's
who are
exactly.
Yeah.
paying attention now. What I've been saying as a former professor, former lecturer,
Well,
PhD,
stop it right there. Like, just it's odd. I don't know what her situation is, but she's actually admitted to being fired from
Yeah.
this position. So,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Colonel Kurtz wasn't good at her job.
Oh, well, let's not speculate. She might have been fired unfairly, right?
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
All right. Okay.
through a top 20 graduate program. I've spent like 20 years in that field.
So she must be in her 40s then, right?
Yeah, she said she was 41 or 2.
Well, she's quite good looking for her age. Oh,
I've been
She
saying
is.
irrelevant though.
for a while now is that there are huge problems with academia that have existed now for decades and have been getting in recent years much worse. And a lot of them are not things that are being discussed. So I actually came up with a long list, and I posted it to my Twitter. And I want to talk about it just briefly, lay it out. Okay, so yes, of course, DEI is a problem. Yes, of course, racial preferences in admissions and hiring, a big problem. And that is one.
DEY. I think it's some sort of diversity thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
One
Oh,
of
by the way, and the racist thing is still going on. It's just that white men are included now too.
Yeah. Well, no. It's a racist thing against white men, getting them out of jobs. Basically.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, it's hiring black women over white men. That's what it is. And maybe the odd token black man and odd token gay man throwing them some crumbs. So you incentivize them to attack the white man. Basically, that's what it is. So diversity is just code word for get rid of the male. That's all.
Yes.
I mean. Yeah.
The complaints that I have with academia, that is.
I've heard some real horror stories. Like basically, an Indian man was accused of being a rapist in an American university, and they just booted him with no evidence. For example, so it gets brown skinned men as well. This stuff.
Yes.
Too.
One that is being exposed a lot through this Claudine Gay situation, because people have now looked into her background, her academic background, and they have discovered that her academic record is very paltry, and that if she were a white man, comparably, then she wouldn't have gotten that position.
Well, it's because she's a woman. It's not because she's black, because she's a woman.
Exactly.
There's too many examples of incompetent women in all fields, in all professions, in all organisations getting jobs. So women are a wonderful effect. Okay? Incompetent women getting hired over men. Okay? It's status rape. I'm going to call it status because men get traumatised if they lose status. Status is very important to most men. That's just the way.
Yes.
It's always going to be that way. Men are treated worse and got lower status, and they want to get relationships. They want to get the girl. They want status. Men go crazy about status, right? The Nazi movement was about low status men getting angry and organising, and taking over and killing their rivals, right?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Yes.
And so there's an entire conversation now that has arisen online, and I'm very glad, about racial preferences, not only in hiring, but also in admissions.
Okay, I've got to say one thing for her from what I've watched. She doesn't do the usual right-wing retard talk about this subject, right? I'll give her credit on that, because the right-wingers always frame it in the wrong way. They always laugh at the leftists, they rant on about communists, blah, blah, blah. I haven't seen her do that. She does it. I haven't seen her do it so far, and I've watched quite a few of the videos. Right, she frames the issue seriously, without humour. She frames it correctly. This is why I can actually, even though I disagree with her on a lot of things, and I find a lot of her stances annoying, I can still tolerate her. Right?
Yes, same here. That's why I'm still
sorry. I can't watch Yellow Flash or watch Umbrella Guy or watch the average outrage bait channel talking about these issues, right? Because they always frame it incorrectly and always got this, they're triggered, they're triggered, they're going bankrupt. So it's just fucking tedious.
Criteria. Even after the Supreme Court ruled that henceforward it's illegal, affirmative action in school admissions is illegal.
They're feminists though. They're gonna fuck you to law. Like, women regularly ignore family court orders and the judges don't enforce them. They know they can get away with this. They're just gonna get feminist women in. They're going to say no. They are a political movement with a political goal. They're going to do what they want to do, right? You have to get them out completely. I promise. Okay, feminists have got to be unemployable. They've got to be put on a register, right? Okay, They've got to be banned from having children as well. Okay. They
Yes.
actually have to be sterilised. I don't believe in this my body, my choice. Laws restrict bodies all the time. Feminists actually have to be sterilised. Feminists should not have children. Period. Right? The feminist movement in India trying to sterilise millions of men. Right? We need to sterilise
Yes.
feminist
Did
women.
do
I'm sorry,
that.
I'll say that. I don't care. That's extreme. I don't believe people should have a right to breed. It should be licensed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
The
Look,
kid comes first. The
I
kid
used
comes.
to.
Look,
Yeah, go ahead.
there is something bad about. It's a very extreme measure. It's very bad controlling people like that on some level. But the children come first.
First, yes. Because I'll tell you now, Mr. Pink and Yellow, I mean, I used to think the opposite, but I've just seen too many bad parents,
Yes.
and it destroys the child.
Bad mothers as well. Let's
Yeah.
put it written. It's bad. A father can be good and trying to intervene, and you'll just get booted away by the system.
Yes. Yeah.
The schools have been very blatant about the fact until recently, and they're kind of trying to hide it. So, like Harvard didn't publish its early admissions racial data because they don't want people to know that
So they're just saying, "Oh, we're not going to publish it. We're feminists. We get to do what we want."
like a lot of schools, they are continuing with their unfair hiring practices and illegal hiring practices. So anyway, DEI definitely a problem. The whole DEI philosophy. It's in a number of the classrooms, yes, depending on what courses you're taking, but also just in the.
I'm going to have to do a follow-up video, or you're going to have to do a follow-up video on DEY. To be honest, I want to see what's up with this. So, I reckon it's intersectional feminism at play.
The way that administrators govern a university. There's.
Come on, it's 100% sure though. It's not really a guess. You know what I mean? Like, if you see a mushroom cloud in the distance, it's probably a nuclear bomb being dropped. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not just about bias in the classrooms with professors who let their political ideology slip into their teaching, or in some
Let the feminism. Okay.
Cases make it very prominent. It's also about the climate, the campus climate that's created by administrative attitudes, and administrators very, very, very much to the left, just like.
So it's the left. Look, it's the left nonsense again, right? And like the left is infested by feminism, but so is the right. Okay, so it's feminists. So like, leftists are actually okay in universities. Leftists weren't doing this in universities in the past, right? Universities were fine in the past, right? So it's not leftists, it's feminists.
Yeah.
Period. Okay.
By the way, one of the reasons why Kurtz might be in the position she is because she sounds like a right winger or a tradcon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's not very traditional though, is she? She's not breeding. So
yeah.
Tradcons are all fakers, by the way. Just letting you know.
Yes.
Just like faculty, and of course, they're drawn from the faculty often. But that's not it. So we've got out of control tuition and fees and astounding costs to go to college. Look, I just don't see how anyone could look at the cost of going to college at an American university.
Well, while this is an important subject, right, this is irrelevant to the things. Yeah. It's not related to this subject. It always talk about the cost of university.
And how they could look at that graph showing the inflation of college tuition and fees.
Well, actually, so from a lot of people's point of view, from the high stakes people's point of view, it's actually good. It's inflating, and I'm going to tell you why. If the barrier to entry is high for a good university or universities, then the fact you've done it is proof you've got status and money, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it from a lot of people's point of view, that in of itself is good. And like high stakes companies who want to hire people, that's good. That's good. What do you call it?
Yeah, good indicator.
Good indicator, but no, it's good vetting for them. It's good vetting for them, right? You've been vetted. You're high status. You can afford to do this, right? Okay, so high stakes people actually want this, in my opinion.
And the fact that to go to even a decent school now, let's not even talk about Harvard, but to go to a decent school now, it is so expensive, and how the inflation has not kept pace with anything else. That's what happens when the government heavily subsidizes something.
Oh, by the way,
no. Right, universities could be paid for by the state. Okay, it's nothing to do with government subsidies, right? Right. So they're charging through the nose for it, apparently, but this happens when the government subsidises it. Like what? What the fuck are you on about? You're not making any
Yeah.
sense. If the government actually pays for it, it should just be free. Period. It should just be free. It should
Yes.
be based on merit and talent. If you've got good enough grades, you get to go to university. Period. Period. Sorry, what were you about to say?
Oh, I forgot. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Do you realize there's been an explosion in administrative bloat? And I've talked about it before. But they're even,
There's an explosion of feminists taking over universities. Let's not derail here, Kurtz.
You can go online and get articles, statistics about how many administrative staff there are at major universities compared to students.
So basically, this is females networking, getting other females jobs. This is what's happening. They do because
Yes.
females are parasites. They're like locusts. They actually don't care about the health of the organisations they take over, right?
Exactly.
So they just keep on hiring other females, and other females. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's
and also
I
females
saw like
that
Harvard.
agree with them too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There are 2,000 more administrators and staff at Harvard, 2,000 plus more than there are students. It was something like crazy like that. And if you look at a graph, you'll see that the number of solid tenure track teaching positions that
this is jobs for women, basically. This is prestigious jobs for women, right
Yeah.
here.
we think of as real professors have gone down dramatically over the years. At the same time, that administrative bloat, all of these usually pointless.
Blah blah blah. She's talking about this. I want to digress and talk about science for like a minute or two because this is related to this. Okay, science is going down the toilet due to feminism.
Oh,
Right.
big time.
Big time. So there's a lot of soft sciences have been polluted by feminism. There's absolute garbage feminist studies that pass for science, right? And feminists are even infesting the hard sciences as well.
Yeah, they're going after that now. Yep.
Yes, and they've destroyed history, they've destroyed sociology, they're destroying the hard sciences. Like Intel are forced to do women in tech initiatives and spend hundreds of millions on this, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Intel was stuck in 14 nanometer for years, and that's why the HTMSC or what there's a Taiwanese chip manufacturing company that overtook them, and they went up to like 3 nanometer now, right? 40 nanometer, 3 nanometer. I think Intel are on 10 nanometer now, but one of the reasons why is because they're spending on women in tech, and the Taiwanese don't have to bother with that nonsense. They went far ahead of
Yes.
Intel. Okay?
And the reason why they're going after the hard sciences is because they have to infiltrate it all. They cannot stand. They can't stand the fact that it's male majority. I won't say dominated. It's male majority,
Men get
and that's
status.
what that is about.
It's not,
Yes.
they don't care about like big men. They want to get the status jobs, basically. The
Yes.
Jobs, yes.
Yeah.
It's spy. They just want to dominate and control.
Bureaucratic positions have been exploding. And
Look, if there was a real traditionalist society or a real like male-dominated society where women were kept in a place, I'd be all for it now. I'm sorry. Like, so we got to try. Like, if we got power, I'll try and experiment. Like, true equality one last time. But if women fight against it and try and get more power again, just like, all right, you're kept to the side like mental patients, right? You're not allowed in certain fields. Shoo. You be janitors, right? Shoo. You be the bin men. Men do at the universities doing all the science because they're actually fundamentally destroying it and harming it, right?
Yeah.
Women shoo to the side like that, still be looked after, still be fed, still be looked after, right? Men, when they get marginalised and excluded, are homeless.
Homeless. Yeah.
Or they're
Exactly.
falsely accused or jailed for rape, or the dicks are circumcised and cut off.
Yeah.
Or they're murdered by women, mothers, okay? Like, female supremacy kills men. The male supremacy that existed did not kill women. That's the difference. It's never existed. And trans
Yes.
are actually not male supremacists, right? Okay.
just like in the government, just like in our government, bureaucracy, it begets more bureaucracy. And then you have all these people trying to justify their jobs. People like, for instance, DEI officials and Title IX coordinators.
Oh, stop it. Is she saying DEI? She might be saying.
DEY.
Okay.
It's a diversity exclude. It's something to do with diversity. We'll look this up later. It's
Yeah.
DEY.
Yeah.
It's not DIY. It's DEY. Okay. And she talked about Title IX. It's all intersectional feminist
Yeah.
management.
Yeah.
Sexual assault investigators. And so another thing I talked about, kangaroo Title IX courts unfairly punishing male students
Yeah.
who are accused of assault or harassment without real due process. I mean, you look into that, it's just insane.
It's perfectly calculated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have also
No one calls the KKK insane. They just say they're bad people.
Yes.
You know.
extreme ideological imbalance in faculty and administrative hires. And look,
This is the pendulum swung too far fallacy. It's not an extreme imbalance in ideology. It's not like, oh, they get to have their say, we get to have our say too. They're feminist extremists. They don't belong in universities. You don't go, oh yeah, we've got the KKK in universities, right, and then we have the Black Panthers in universities. That's a balance. That's not how it works. It's not an imbalance. These feminist women should not be in universities. Full stop. They should be mental patients, marginalised. Women actually, you know, when women actually complain about marginalisation, they're telling on themselves. That's actually what needs to happen to them. Feminist women, especially, they need to be marginalised, right? Non-feminist women should be given a chance, but they carry on attacking men as well. They should be marginalised as well. It's self-defence. It's not done out of spite. It's not done out of anger. It's self-defence.
Look, I am not at all suggesting that when the faculty of, say a history department, when they sit down to decide which candidates they're going to consider and which candidates they're going to hire, that they say, oh, this guy, we get the sense that he's a Republican and also he's a straight white male, so we're not going to hire him.
No, what happens is, oh, it's a female, let's get her a job. Oh, that's a male, let's reject him. It's nothing to do with politics. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, we need one or two faggots, token fags in there, because they'll call them faggots on their backs, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And we need a couple of black men in there, right? We need some tokenism, but we've got to make sure the lion's share goes to women. That's how it works. And one or two trans as well. They'll probably get one or two trans, like throw some crumbs to their pets, right? But it's all for women, basically.
They're attack dogs. Yeah.
No, it's more to the tune of this person's dissertation seems more timely, or or they just have a natural preference towards certain dissertation topics and certain courses of study, and of course,
man hatred and feminism.
They understand that certain courses of study should be discouraged.
Yeah, anything that's proper science and proper research is going to be discouraged, especially actually proper science, proper sociology, proper psychology, proper research into those fields that actually debunks feminism. Right?
Yes.
That's when they're not going to do it, basically. Like, there's this bullshit nonsense still going around, like there's more male narcissists than women, which is complete horseshit. Complete horseshit. I do not understand. I do understand, but I do not know how anyone could come to that conclusion logically. It's just got to be complete horseshit. Yeah. Narcissism is actually a female trait.
And then when it comes to, hiring a straight white man versus, a gay black woman, they can't, so the hiring committees, of course, they can't put it in writing. We're only going to consider female candidates or black female candidates or what have you. But they talk about it. It's very common, like everybody knows. And so you have
that picture of Marvel Comics, the editorial board, all women. That picture of Bungie, the Halo game studio, that's fucked up recently, right? All women, okay? The pattern's here. It's a pattern of behaviour, and it's universal. You let women in, at a certain point, they carry on pushing men out. Men have got to stop pushing women out, right? Yeah. They're accusing us of having old boys network and glass ceiling. That's a good idea. They're telling on themselves again, right? Yeah. And it'll be purely defensive. It'll be purely defensive.
Tremendous imbalance in hiring practices, and frankly, it's illegal in some ways.
Yeah, but feminism's above the law.
Grade inflation,
by the way,
particularly.
I think the reason why, when she was complaining about the price of university, I find when the people that complain the most are usually the mid-level income people that are now having a hard time getting in.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Yeah. They want to get status. They want to get knowledge and degrees and status, and it doesn't work out for them. But the high status people are fine with it, so they'll carry on overcharging, basically.
Yeah.
As long as the high status people just pay it, it's going to carry on happening, right?
In certain disciplines, where some and worse than others. But Harvard.
And by the way, the American education system is fucking itself. They're fucking their economy. They're fucking their own country. China's going to overtake America. The Chinese are actually better educated than Westerners now, which is shocking.
Yeah. Their average GPA now is a 3.8. You look at a graph of that, the way it's been.
I don't understand grade inflation, by the way. So basically, if more people are getting higher grades, but it's the same work, I don't see the problem, right? But I don't understand the issue. She's going to talk about grade inflation for a bit.
Shooting up.
Oh.
the overprominence of, I'm going to get in trouble with some people, but in my opinion, the overprominence of sports, particularly like with what I saw at my school, college football, and yes, a kind of exploitation, I think, of student athletes by the NCAA, who at times, they're
Hold
making
it now.
the
One thing about sports is though, that's one of the few avenues that low status guys could actually get themselves up.
Yeah, but they can get themselves crippled as well. American football is very dangerous.
Well, yeah, of
Yes.
course. I mean,
the schools are making
It's a weird American obsession as well. I don't.
it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
you don't have anything equivalent in the UK.
a ton of money off of some of these star players and some of these great teams. And the students, yeah, I understand they get free tuition, free room and board. Yeah, it's not nothing. And maybe it's a little heavy to call it exploitation. Some of you don't like that. You say, oh, well, they signed up for it. Okay, but let's just say that it's still not a fair practice. So anyway, I'm not wanting to do away with all college sports or tell you can't watch your football or whatever. But I'm just saying that this is something that needs to be looked at perhaps too, if we're doing a kind of inventory.
So this is a massive digression. It might be an
Yeah.
interesting subject for a separate video, but it's a massive digression from the main point of feminists taking over universities. Like,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
always have they can't focus on the issue at hand. That's a very common thing with bad MRAs or fake controlled opposition. They always got some other pet issue to talk about.
Of the universities and some of their issues. Unnecessary vanity building projects that don't actually facilitate real learning. So much donation money goes to building projects.
That's status signaling. It's the females in the university status signaling. Oh, this is a very prestigious place, we can build things. It's status signaling. Status signaling is wasteful behaviour in and of itself anyway.
Y'all, do you know that? And look, it's one thing if it's a building that's actually needed and it's done in such a way so that, yeah, it looks nice, but it's not just sucking up unnecessary funds. Like at one of the schools that I taught at,
That's very feminine because like women like big luxurious houses, basically.
Yes.
So it's status signaling again.
they spend $1 million a year apparently on the budget for flowers, for flowers and gardening and
Status signaling. Status signaling, and that's corruption as well. They're paying their friends some money as
Yes.
well. It's very obvious.
stuff on campus.
Like, I wish I was in on this gravy train. Jesus Christ, feminist hatred pays off.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe that's necessary, maybe it's not. But I'm just saying there is a ton of money that is going to these schools, whether it's government money or it's endowment or it's new donors, tuition, parents writing the checks, whatever. And I'm just not sure that we're really thinking through. Well, I'm sure that we're not really thinking through.
High status people are fine with this. We're wasting money. It's a high barrier to entry. The high status students want a high barrier to entry to keep the riffraff out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The spending and what the budgetary constraints should be and what real learning requires and what it doesn't. The preference in many academic fields for small ideas, irrelevant points of focus, or politically fashionable topics that don't actually advance real knowledge or promote real intellectualism.
That's feminism again. It's feminism.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So because even the anti-white intersectional racism is feminism as well. So it's all feminism.
Number of professors in certain fields in particular, at least I know in humanities, can attest to this. There's a real sort of siloing of interest. You're often encouraged to, in your studies, to pick like small little topics and don't.
And basically, and people are forced to take on gender study courses in a lot of these places as well. They're basically being raped into doing it.
Really go out on some big limb. Just look at what some other largely irrelevant people have written about it that nobody cares about, because your average academic book, even John McWhorter was talking about this in his recent article in the New York Times, the average academic book is like basically read by no one.
So what's that got to do with feminism? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's just this smallness in general, not with everyone, not with all professors, okay? And there's still a lot of smart people in these fields.
I do think there's a bitterness about her being booted out, to be honest. And I'm going maybe if she still had a status within the university, she wouldn't be speaking out because it would risk her status, right? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely. She might be booted out for speaking out of being conservative, but who knows?
Even if I think they're politically imbalanced, but there's just a lot of like small ideas and small thinking, and people are really constrained, and it's really in a lot of ways more of a
again constrained by feminism. If you go against the feminist orthodoxy, you're booted out.
a monastic
Precisely.
Feminists have actually closed down men's groups in universities, men's rights groups, universities.
Yes.
So yeah.
environment in that sense than people might realize, right? And of course, the academy does have its roots in the monastery, and there you can see where this need.
I want to start again. I want to focus. This is when it becomes pure gibberish. Okay.
Yeah.
Might realize, right? And of course, the academy does have its roots in the monastery, and there you can see where this need for orthodoxy and conformity comes from, right?
So this is like calling the feminists Puritans or calling them religious
Yes.
zealots. It's nothing to do with this. Universities were fine. Their religious origins is nothing to do with anything. Period. Universities were fine up until recently, historically.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Exactly. Yes. She's complaining about something that is fairly new,
yes.
Happening. Yes. So there's no point of talking about, the monasteries.
Yes.
It is kind of in the blood of academia, so to speak.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Bullshit.
As an institution. So
it's like when they did that research in DNA and they discovered the structure of DNA, they didn't go, oh, that goes against our religion, we're going to suppress that. That didn't happen, did it? Right? All these advancements, nuclear bombs, nuclear power, DNA, medicine, all these all these advancements that come from universities, right? That wasn't blocked, was it? So it's nothing to do with that. This is feminism.
These are problems. I think that it's a problem that you have so many classes now taught by part-time, poorly paid adjunct labor or grad students. And even at a place like Harvard, you're going to have a huge chunk of classes that are being taught by poorly paid or ill-prepared, generally part-time.
Yeah, right here, what you've been saying all along. Poorly paid or part-time, it was probably, like you say, it's women getting a free ride, yes. Saying, okay, you're not really qualified, but we'll give you a job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adjunct labor or one-year instructorships or grad students. And these are, like, generally speaking, not great jobs. And I don't think people understand how so much of the money going to these universities is going to the salaries of administrators and DEI officials and
it's women being greedy and upping their status.
Yes.
And what they're probably dumping the work on less fortunate people, to be honest, from the sounds of things. But okay.
Stability officers, right? Because there are so many people trying to game the system now at universities to get their kids extra time on tests and stuff that they have them declared disabled because they have ADHD.
The ADHD thing is a lot of bullshit as well, and also is autism. I think this neurodivergent thing. There's people who are neurodivergent, but there's a lot of people who lie about it and hijack it to play the victim, yes. And gain sympathy and gain the system. She's right about that.
And I am sorry, I've talked about this before, it offends people, but I do not recognize ADHD as like a disability like blindness that should be accommodated. People need to get used to living in the real world. When these kids go into the real workforce...
I do think a lot of ADHD is bad socialisation, actually. And it's weird that all this ADHD is on the rise ever since single mothers were on the rise. I don't think that's a coincidence. Right?
I agree with that.
Yes.
Are they going to get extra time by their bosses to complete projects because they've got ADHD? And a lot of people are getting strung out on these medications, by the way.
Yes, and also female teachers in primary schools are drugging boys for being boisterous.
Yes, they are.
Yes,
they're causing
feminism.
A lot of these ADHD.
Yes,
yeah.
Feminism again.
Every semester when I was teaching, I would have one or two students that looked strung out, and I would talk to them, not even about that, just to see how things are going. And inevitably, they would talk about, I'm having such a hard time, I'm so tired and stuff. And I'd say, well, how long have you been on stimulants? And they would look at me like surprised. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're strung out. What else? Peer review?
Oh, by the way, Mr. Pink and Yellow, just to prove your point, nephew of mine was in that position that when he was in high school, he wasn't just really young, he was in high school. Yeah. And they tried to put him on Ritalin. Yes. And his mother refused, they would have.
That's evil. That's an attempt to poison boys. Then that's feminists trying to poison boys. Fucking evil. Exactly. Feminists are trying to poison males. They're trying to poison them. And the thing is, like, fucking no. Fuck feminists. Fuck feminism is a hate movement. They have to be banned from the public sector. They have to be put on databases. They have to be put in mental asylums. They have to be treated like biker gangs. Right? Just associating with feminist groups, you should be jailed. I'm sorry. They're fucking evil. They attack the most. They worm their way in, and they attack the most defenseless of society. They're evil. Evil.
To be published academically, you have to almost always
I'm sorry. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I
So,
said what I said.
go through a peer review process, which means that like other professors or experts.
I just want to emphasize what that was. It's poisoning. It's chemical poisoning.
It is.
Changing your
That's
fucking
exactly.
brain. It's
They're trying to destroy their brains.
I'd rather be. I don't want to be sodomized and raped, right? It'd be traumatic. It'd be fucking horrible. But I'd rather have that happen to me than have my brain chemistry destroyed without my consent.
Yeah, become a zombie.
Yes. You might not ever recover, right? Like your inner life, your inner being, your soul. Metaphorically speaking, because I don't really believe in souls, but you know what I mean, right? Your consciousness being attacked. That's a deep fundamental violation.
It's really it's erasing you in the real sense.
Yes. And also, they misdiagnose this stuff all the time anyway. I'm sorry. Society was fine before we had all this medication. I'm sorry. There's something fucking weird going on here.
Are reading your work and either approving it or telling you have to change this or what have you. And the peer review process in a lot of ways is very broken. I'm not going to...
It's hijacked by feminists again. All right? It's all feminists. It's the pattern here. It's obvious.
I get into that.
So universities are broken because of feminism. This is all the ways that feminists have broken universities. Okay.
But it is. And this is a problem in the sciences, the hard sciences as well. So anyway.
Feminists have polluted hard sciences like we've been saying before. Okay.
Everybody.
So we're going to shit, basically, right? We're going to shit. Russia, China, India, they're all going to overtake us. Especially China. Okay?
Yes.
They're tradcons, they're massive tradcons, but they haven't allowed feminists to pollute this yet, so you're going to have a massive lead over us in the West.
Hey, check out my Twitter, check out my channel.
Okay, the video's done. Okay. Yeah. So, Kurt needs to stop the coping, she needs to stop the euphemisms, she needs to stop the obfuscation, she needs to get down to the core essential simple truth. This is a simple truth that has been repeated over and over again. Feminists have destroyed higher education. A hate movement occupies higher education. They're in higher education and they're going after men and destroying them.
Yeah. Well, you know something, she's never going to stop. Yeah. Because she'll never admit, because shitting on feminism goes to the core of female behavior. Yes. She'll never admit that, for one thing.
Yes.
And the other thing is, she's making her living right now, as far as I can tell, or she's trying to with her YouTube channel. She does not want this problem to go away.
Yes.
You know.
Well, even if she does, she's not going the right way about it anyway, to be honest. So yeah, like I said, I think she wants to roll back to second wave feminism.
She does.
Yes, that's what she wants. So basically, she wants chivalry. She wants women first, but she wants high status men left in peace to gain their status.
Exactly. That's what it is in the heartbeat. Yes. He said, only beat up on the poor, low status guys or those douchebags that don't serve me.
Yes.
You know.
Okay. So I've said everything I've had to say about
this. Yeah,
this.
same here.
Okay, so I'm going to end the video